living and a way of life. And Ernie James of Welney would choose to be nowhere else.
We want to be doing what you want to do, living where you want to do, and that's the main thing in life, I think. We've got everything here bar money.
Alright, it's a plan B day today. I'm desperate to get out for a walk, really desperate. It's been quite a few weeks since I've had a good long walk somewhere, and I've got one in mind. Desperate to get one, but I had to get the car sorted first. It's been dragging on, and I've been sort of half-arsedly doing bits and pieces and not really getting anywhere. I was on that this morning, and I think I've figured out that it's probably at the moment down to my HT leads. They're old and worn out, so I've ordered a new set for Monday. We'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, it's such a beautiful day. I thought I wasn't in the best of moods with the car. It's lovely, so I've come up with the allotment to do a bit of pruning. Let's go and have a look. It's gorgeous out there. That's a far cry from the 2 weeks of horrible storms that we've just had, isn't it? Beautiful. Girls are all happy. That sort of weather doesn't bother them one bit. These chickens are tough as anything. Ain't you, girls? Hey? Aren't we? We don't mind the bad weather. Everything held up. I've not had any damage at all on my plot. And having a quick look around, I've not seen very much damage. Oops. Not seen very much damage on anybody else's either. Everybody seems to have fared pretty well, considering that they were, well, we had 80 mile an hour here, 80 mile an hour winds. Let me just quickly check the garlic. I forgot to check that. Wow, it's all still standing. Oh, where are we? Here we go. All the garlic still standing against 80 mile an hour winds. Happy with that. Right, let's just have a quick scout around. I must say, just at a quick glance, I've not seen any flattened sheds or greenhouses or anything like that. I think, to be honest, everybody up here is so used to the high winds. Even when we haven't got storms, it's always windy anyway. A few bean poles fallen over. Nothing major. I think everybody came out of that quite well, really. I've just been doing a bit more raspberry pruning, but it just feels a bit like a mug's game, to be honest. Because bearing in mind that we've just inherited this plot, it wasn't ours, and for the last year and a half, it's not really been it's been kept tidy, it's been kept mown, you know, it's been kept in shape by the neighbours there, Sue and Vern. But it wasn't really being worked. And as a consequence, none of this has really been weeded for the last year and a half. So this isn't my way of doing things. I'm having to go around and dig out all of these clumps and nettles. It's absolutely riddled with nettle roots in there. And I'm definitely not up for having to do this year after year on all of these rows. So I'm gonna put down some landscaping fabric or something like that. And I can see, look, originally it did have some anyway, look. Originally there was landscaping fabric over that to keep the weeds down. But over time, obviously, it's just fallen into a little bit of disrepair. It's not the end of the world, do you know what I mean? Once it's got on top of, and it's got some landscaping fabric, and then probably a bit of, you know, a bit of manure or straw or whatever on top of the landscaping fabric as well, then that's more my way of doing things. You know, just putting that bit of effort initially, and it saves you a lot of work in the long run. Having to do this is a bit of a nightmare. So I think for the rest of it, actually, I might not be as thorough as I have been here. I might just take it down to ground level and cover it over. Might be the best option. Yeah, that's a lot of raspberries. Definitely the best option. So, slight change of approach with those raspberries back there. Why make it difficult? You know, rather than struggle trying to do what I was doing there, I might as well just bring them over to the same system that I use on the rest of my plot here, where everything is just covered over with heavy mulches. It keeps all the weeds down, keeps everything fed, keeps everything moist, you know. So now, I've had enough of that. I'm going to take my saw and my loppers. I'm going to have a little wander. Before everything starts to green up, while the hedgerows there are still quite bare, I'm just going to have a quick walk around, because a lot of that is blackthorn, shillelagh wood, you know. I'm just going to have a quick walk around there and see if, while it's all exposed and bare, if I just spot any beauties standing out that I didn't spot in the summer. Shooting today, don't know if you can hear it. It's this stretch just over here next to the road that's got all the blackthorn in it. I have been over that a couple of times and taken bits out, but it's always been during the summer in the leafy season, whereas at the moment it's all bare, so I might find something nice. It's actually quite a young hedgerow by the looks of it. There's a hell of a lot of blackthorn in there, but it is all very young. So I've only taken the one. I've got one nice long straight one. I didn't have my trowel with me, so I couldn't dig out a bit of root with it, so it's just a straight stick. But it was worth coming over just to have a look at the blackthorn and see what sort of condition it's in. I'll be able to get bits and pieces over time, but I'm not going to get any really large bits for a few years yet by the looks of it. I was in the local farm shop earlier, the local feed supplier, where I got all the stuff for the chickens and all the bales of straw and that, you know. And in there they had a big bucket full of quite nice looking, like, horns, basically, a selection of various different horns from different animals. I think they were in there as dog toys, but they look really nice. And a stick like that, just a plain straight one, I wouldn't mind having a go with that. Getting myself a bit of ram's horn or deer antler or something like that. They weren't that cheap. They were generally about 10 quid each. But even so, I think if I find a suitable bit of wood, so I know what diameter I'm looking for, I can measure that specific bit of wood, and I'll go and find a nice bit of horn or antler to fit onto one. Something different to try. I'll get myself down to the allotment shop next weekend and get a load of that landscaping fabric. That won't be a permanent solution because I don't like landscaping fabric long term. Long term I prefer to use something a bit more you know, biodegradable, cardboard basically, but for now, to get the job done, we'll get that covered up with landscape fabric and it should be all systems go. Right, I'm going to go home. Oh, relax a bit, maybe mow the lawn. It's wet as hell here, look. But lawn at home's actually quite dry. So, right, I don't know. Whatever, see you later, something like that. Here's another clip.
then, so there must have been a good trade for willows at that time of day. It must have been a good business.
But today, plastic has put an end to the willow trade. No longer do the farmers require potato baskets or skeps for feeding their cattle. And gone forever is the time when the women of Welney lined these banks to peel bark from the osiers, and the river resounded with their laughter.